Hello, welcome back to the Casual Watch Review channel. This week we're reviewing a micro brand. I've been steering clear of a lot of micro brands recently, but got a very nice email from the guys in New York who started this company. So I thought I'd give it a review, and wow, the value for money with this watch, I'll let you decide towards the end, but when I first opened the watch, very impressed. Even though the box looks like there might be a scented candle in there, there's definitely a watch. So let's flip the camera around, do the review, and then let me know what you think at the end. Here we have the Oceanica. Comes in this very nice wooden box here. Still has the Made in China sticker on the back there. A little vintage latch. As mentioned in the intros, looks like there might be a scented candle in here, but it is certainly a watch. Now, as I open this up, I know what you're thinking, yet another NH35A powered dive watch. There has definitely been a massive market saturation of these type of dive watches over recent years, and I'm also feeling it as well. But when these two cousins from New York reached out to me about this brand, they were also watch collectors. They've been going since 2017, so I think you'll be impressed with some of the features of this watch. This version is coming in currently on their website for $200, and you really are getting a lot of watch for your money. One of the things that drew me to it as well is for your $200, not only are you getting a 200-meter dive watch with a sapphire crystal and a full bracelet with a very nice milled clasp, which we'll look at later, but you're also getting a watch that looks familiar, but is also not a direct homage or a direct copy of something else. They haven't fallen into that trap of ripping off a Submariner or ripping off the 50 Fathoms. They have done a simple design, but it is not a direct copy of anything else, and I actually very much respect that. So that's what straight away I liked about this, is it has a familiar design, but it's also not a direct copy of another watch. You can see by the shininess that we have a polished ceramic bezel. This also does have lume in it. There is lume on the dial as well. Here is the lume shot, quite impressive. We have BGW9 on the bezel and then C3 on the applied indices. These applied indices are nicely raised on what is a very good looking sunburst green dial. They also do a black version and then an all blue version. I'm a big fan of the date on watches. I just love it. I like the way they position the date on this at the 3 o'clock position. Nicely balances out the indice that's on the 9 o'clock position. I'm also a huge fan of the hands. Highly legible. I also like the fact that the minute hand goes all the way to the outer track of the dial. That's also a big plus for me. The second hand with its nice lollipop tip. The only thing that's setting off my OCD a little bit is that the dot doesn't perfectly cover the dot of the indices. It is ever so slightly off. The bezel has a beautiful, beautiful action to it. No, zero plate, a lovely satisfying click. Has a coinage bezel that is just a pleasure to turn. The crown, beautifully sized. Screw down, has a target symbol on there as well. I'm not sure whether that references something specific to do with the brand, but a nice target symbol on there. Easy to grip, nice in proportion, balances the case out beautifully. The case itself is brushed all over. We have some high polished elements on there as well, which do capture the light and make this watch look a lot more expensive than perhaps its price would suggest. The bracelet again is another standout feature of this watch. Female end links, and that with the slight curving of the lugs towards the wrist make it fit even smaller wrists quite well. I've adjusted this for a 7.2 inch wrist. The milled clasp on here is also very high quality, and we unbelievably have 6 positions of micro adjustment, which we don't often see. You certainly don't get that on Seiko watches, and the bracelet is also screw-in end links, so they really have gone all out. They've ticked all the boxes of what most collectors would like to see on dive watches. The only thing they've missed out is perhaps not having a diver's extension, ratcheted dive extension on the clasp itself, but they do have those 6 positions of micro adjustment. Here we have it on my 7.2 inch wrist. The bracelet is all brushed, also nicely articulates. I've got mine set into the center of the 3 of the 6 positions, so I can go a little bit tighter or also slacken it out a little bit. This case is also very nicely balanced to fit my 7.2 inch wrist very well. I also like how shiny the indices are and the hands as well. They capture the light quite nicely. Let's look at those measurements while I've got the calipers out. We have a 47.6 from lug to lug. The bezel from end to end is a 42.2. The lug width is 22mm, so plenty of strap choice there, and a thickness of only 13.3. So again, very wearable. This particular model is called the Mako or Mako. A very similar name because Orient also do make a watch that has that name, so that not to be confused with that Orient watch. The brand is called Oceanica. The logo and the Oceanica name are printed on there. That might have been nice if there was an applied logo, although the shark is very intricate. On the back of the case, they've also engraved the shark with the waves. I think they've done a good job of this overall, and again for $200 with a nice looking watch, everything you need on the bracelets, comfortable, not jangly, screw-in end links, the milled clasp with the 6 positions of micro adjustment. You also have a different dial and bezel choice options as well. We've talked about a lot of positives with this watch, but are there any negative things or things that you should know? As with most micro brands or small production watch companies, you do have to worry about the longevity of the company if you need parts in the future, but this watch uses a fairly generic movement, an NH35A movement, and with those movements, most dials and handsets that you can add to Seiko watches, you can add to these. So you could replace the dial movement and handset if you needed to. The crown and stem might be a little bit trickier for the casual modder. The other thing is that even though I like the design, it is also playing it safe a little bit. This is a generic, good-looking dive watch. They're kind of painting by numbers from some of the greatest hits of previous dive watches. They do have some different watches on their website that experiment a little bit, but honestly, overall, I think they've done a very good job of this one. But I thank them for sending me in. They sent this in for review, so thanks to the team over there. But as always, guys, really interested to know what you think. Let me know in the comments section. I'll see you next time on Casual Watch Reviews.